evening, good people. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Blessed in the City Conversations with Bless. Good to see you guys this week. Forgive me. I had to get a little nourishment because I believe this show was going to be a difficult one. Okay, Musa. First, we're going to start off with the disclaimer. Ms. Bermudez, please.
Yes, peace and love, kings and queens, peace and love. As always, the conversations, opinions, and anything that you hear discussed on this show is explicitly the views and opinions of the panelists that you see here. It does not in any way reflect Kearney Point Studios, or any of its employees. So if anything is said here that you don't agree with or you're offended by, you can blame Kylie.
Okay.
Yes.
Wouldn't be the first time they put all the blame on me.
Oh, wait, I have to add something to the disclaimer. I keep forgetting this.
What is that?
Also, in addition to that, it does not necessarily reflect the B.L.E.S.C organization. I'm going to say that as well.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, yeah.
Oh,
Not, I said that wrong?
okay, Nessa.
Necessarily?
Nessa.
Doesn't
All right,
necessarily reflect
okay.
the B.L.E.S.C organization. Thank
Right,
you.
and we want to welcome the good brother, Ra. Say what's up to the people.
Thank you. You're far too kind, people. It's good to be here. Good to be with you.
All right.
What's up?
You know, Erica, you don't, it's hard for me to really, introduce you without the hair wrap. It's making me uncomfortable, really, because I feel like, like a queen who doesn't have their crown. I'm not saying that you're not the same, but I'm just saying it just, anyway. And also, we like to welcome Erica Bermudez. Welcome,
Non-wrapped.
good people.
Non-wrapped.
Non-wrapped.
Peace
Unwrapped.
and love, kings and queens, peace and loves. I'm going to say something about this queen without her crown
I'm just
comment
saying.
that he made. I am always a queen.
Not
Okay.
the crown.
Don't get it twisted. I am always a queen. I am always representing queendom. Okay.
Well, technically, queens only wear their crowns in front of peasants.
Thank you. So that the peasants recognize. Okay.
So the whole
I'm
time
always
you
a
was
queen.
calling me a peasant, I graduated, I upgraded this week.
I'm just saying. Crown
Okay.
or no crown, rap or no rap. I let my locks out, today. So it is what it is.
Okay. Anyway, and of
You
course,
you should be happy that I'm showing my locks to
oh,
you.
but they're a little drop. But anyway,
He
okay.
is on a
so,
roll
So
today.
okay, and I am Collymore the Great, the big back invasion. Welcome, good people. Great to see you and hear from you guys this week. Please follow, tag, share, and all those other great
Yes.
things with the social media, please. And we want to start off with actually going into hitting the block. I know with some things locally going on. And like I said, we're here to discuss what's happening now. So, good brother Rock, can you start off with our first hitting the block topic, please?
Hitting the block topic, this is a great opportunity for us to highlight some of the amazing work that's been going on in our community. And when I'm talking about our community, I'm talking about Jersey City as a whole. So I wanted to shout out to GNA. They had a cultural arts awareness movement that actually just transpired last Friday. And this was good too, because we got a lot of people that actually toured the avenues when we were talking about MLK and going from pretty much Urban League all the way down to Rising Tide. And literally talking about some of the most historical, parts. Like, did anyone know that we had a black-owned bank on Claremont Avenue previously? How long Pioneer has been there servicing, a majority black community as well. Mike Howells is actually over there as well. This is a photographer, not a hood photographer, or a photographer in our community that has been servicing our community for nearly 20 years. And being able to see the rich culture, the art, see some of the institutions in which we've actually erected in this community, from the Cunningham administration to this current administration, it's just a beautiful thing. So shout out to, I Love Greenville and the work work that they actually did. They partnered with Jersey City Theater Company, and a bunch of other organizations came together really to talk about and highlight some of the Black art and contributions that have actually gone through in our community, and that's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of other topics, but I don't know if we're going to jump back and forth, but I wanted to just shout out because there's going to be a meet and greet with I Love Greenville as well. That's going to take place on June 7th, and that's going to take place at the Rising Tide building, and that's going to be between, I believe, the hours of 5 to 9. So if you get a chance, that'll give a great opportunity for you guys to meet entrepreneurs, people who are doing things in your community, people who are doing things for your community, and it's a great, contribution for us to be able, or just a great observation for us to be able to see, a lot of entrepreneurs that are doing things in our community that look like the people that reflect the community. So.
And that's great. As always, we always want to lend our support and encourage those who, contribute and definitely support that great organization. Again, that's a blessing. That's a blessing inside the blessing.
Yeah.
With all the things that they do. Ms. Bermudez, I believe you have some local topics as well.
I do, actually. One of the things that I want to bring up is the election that's coming up on June 6th.
Always important.
Yes, it's always important because voting is important.
Yes, and June 6th is very important as well.
June 6th is a significant day as well.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
Yes. So, in any event, yes, like I said, there is an election on June 6th. There are quite a few people that are running for quite a few positions. I want to give a shout out to Angela McKnight, who is running for Senate seat. I want to shout out to some of the other people. I know Chanel Smith is running. I don't remember what she's running for, but Chanel Smith is running. Mr. Craig Guy is running for county executive. Sampson, I have a list here. And I just want everybody to go on to their county website. So for Hudson County, the elections are across New Jersey. But for those of you who are in Hudson County, go to your county website and you'll see a list of everybody who is running the positions that they're running for. Do your research, people. Do your due diligence. I'm always promoting doing your research and researching the person that you want to vote for. Don't just vote by popularity. Don't vote by word of mouth. See what the person is doing and make sure that you vote for the right person. Local elections are important. Everybody think that it's the president, and that you need to vote for. And that is important too, but your local vote is important. You're talking about the people who are doing legislations for things in your community.
It's way more important than the federal, the B100, way more, because everything gets pushed back to the states anyway. So it's definitely important.
And it's something that directly affects you and your family immediately. And it's important that it's great that you said that, Erica, because, it's not about popularity. It's not, right? I mean, you can't favor someone because you like their shoes or just the way they carry themselves. No. It's about electing someone who has the best interest of the majority, right? Or someone you can relate to because your views are the same. And it's important that with these local elections, those individuals that are doing the work actually get voted in. It's important. So if you know someone that's out there and that's active, like she said, go on a website, research them, and for those who've been out there paving, the pavement, pounding the pavement, I would say, we need you guys to go out and support these people because these are the ones that's really going to get inside and make the changes.
One of the other things that I want to mention about voting in elections, a lot of times you see the same person in the same position, and you're like, well, why is that person in the same position? They don't do anything, or they haven't done anything for my community, or whatever the case may be, because nobody's voting.
Right.
If a person is running unopposed, let's remember that you can use a write-in ballot. You can literally write somebody in and then vote for that person, okay? But you have to make your voice heard, and by making your voice heard, you have to vote. And if you don't feel comfortable with the person that's there, you feel like that person hasn't been doing their job, that's where your vote counts.
Yeah.
That's where your vote counts.
I just think it's a lot, when people talk to me and they're like, oh, Rusty, politics, and people want to have a conversation or engage with you. And the first thing that I do now, and I used to do this a little like later in the conversation because I never wanted to upset people, but I really like pull a chair from underneath them. Before you even start a conversation with me about, hey man, you see such and such, they're not doing what I can't believe they vote. Did you vote?
Right.
Did you vote?
Right.
And if you tell me, man, I ain't had no time to, or man, see, obviously I'm happy I didn't because it wouldn't have changed it. Shut up. And I say that to people, and I'm telling you right now, if you see me on the street, that's the first question I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to be as rude as I am right now in saying that if you did not vote, I don't want to hear you talk about anything when it comes to politics whatsoever. Right. And people do, obviously, they vote for popularity and not competence.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that does happen. I understand we have a lot of things to fix, especially in our community, which has an obligation to vote more than any other group in this country, in my opinion. So, get out there, let your voice be heard, and don't say that you're being muted when you're actually putting the tape over your own mouth.
Exactly. And I mean, I say, sending write-in ballots, that's the easy way out, man. Listen, wake up, get out there and actually get informed, make your presence felt, and if you're not part of the solution, you are truly part of the problem. Absolutely. So to make those comments, and the people who do the most complaining in the room are normally the ones that's not there. Get up. I mean, you'd be surprised that if you actually step out and people see your presence, how many other people you can inspire to do the same thing, right? So if you really want changes, then you got to be a part of it. And it starts with you. And I hear this all the time. Well, my one vote ain't going to make no difference.
One vote, definitely, yeah.
Especially in Jersey City.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With the voter turnout in Jersey City, it's very crazy. You believe it or not, if you were to look at the population by itself, in every single one of these elections, so I don't want anyone to ever say anything bad. Like if you hate Phillip or hate, like Healy or hate anyone, you have had the power collectively as a group on the south side of the city to literally choose who you want to be the mayor. Voting turnout in Jersey City is so historically low that any group can come together and make up their own mind and say, we want this to be our next mayor. Right. So when you say that, oh, well, no, like my vote wouldn't count, you are in the one place where that is an absolute lie. That's a fallacy. Let's not rely on that any longer.
Yes,
that's right,
so
man.
please
get
out
on
there
out
and vote.
Vote.
June 6th.
That's right.
June 6th are local elections. There are Senate seats. There are Assembly seats. There's a lot of, please get out and vote.
And I'd like to say that unofficially, this has nothing to do with B.L.E.S.C. It has nothing to do with Kearney Point Studios. This is me, Rashid, personally. Angela McKnight is somebody that I follow for a very long time. She also serves as, sort of a mentor in a lot of spaces.
That's right.
I'm extremely proud of, the work that she's done and her time as a legislator in our community and the work that she's done as a community organizer and all the other things that she's done. So shout out to her. I'm not telling anyone how to vote. I'm just telling you right now that's exactly how I'm going to.
And I'm going to express this as well.
Well, not to be biased, but Michael Griffin, just so everybody knows who, because I don't want it to seem like
that
we're
is my
pushing
brother
towards
and
anybody.
I love him.
Michael,
still going with Angela.
Right. Well, hey,
I'm a huge fan of hers as well. I think she's awesome, but I just want to put the information out there. Michael Griffin is also running for a Senate seat. Assembly is Chanel Smith and Barbara McCain. And see, the reason why I didn't want to say a bunch of the names is because it really depends on your district.
Yep.
Yeah.
In terms of assembly, it depends on your district. In terms of the commissioner, because county commissioner is also on the ballot, but it depends on your district. This is why I'm urging you to please go onto the Hudson County Clerk website or whatever county that you live in, whether it be Essex, Cumberland, I think I said that right. Whatever county you live in, go onto your county clerk's website and look at the district where you live in and who's running for, whether it be Senate, Assembly, county executive, or county commissioner. That way you can vote who you want to vote for in your area. Yes.
And again, people, inform yourself, but get out, be active, be proactive, get out and vote. Angela McKnight is definitely a friend of B.L.E.S.C.
Yes.
And we want to just applaud her and encourage her and wish her much success. She's definitely have been in the community, you know, constantly in everywhere she needed to be to try to make a difference. She's been there.
She does the work.
Yes.
She absolutely does the work.
She exemplifies what
Legislation
we
for
need.
reparations,
Right.
legislation
Exactly.
to remove the slave clause from the 13th
Exactly.
Amendment. It
she-
goes
Legislation
on and
for
on and on.
inmates who people who are come out of jail and helping them getting housed.
Reentry programmings and
thank
stuff
you.
like
I
that.
couldn't
Yeah.
think of that. Yes.
She exemplified what I say would be a modeled, you know, politician for the people. And I would say, you know, the best, you know, activist that you can get in that seat to truly make change.
Yes.
And I just want to applaud
And she does a
her.
lot for the seniors, too.
Yes,
I
she
A
wanna
does.
lot for the
Yeah,
scene.
she does a
Angela
lot.
Cares
Yes.
as a
Yes.
nonprofit 501c3, you know, definitely
Yes.
support that organization because they almost single-handedly,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like
Absolutely.
nurture and take care of when it comes to the seniors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
She's
So I
awesome.
definitely,
She's
I definitely
actually
want to,
helped me on
I
some
definitely want to
things, too.
applaud her. Not so much an endorsement, but me personally, I want to applaud her and wish her nothing but success. And I applaud those and encourage those to, you know, follow her, you know, get informed. And I'm pretty sure once you're able to understand who she is, you too will share the same, you know, aspiration or understanding of how great she would be for us in the position that she's running for.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
definitely kudos to her.
And best of luck to
Right.
everybody.
To
who's-
everybody.
To everyone
yeah,
that
to
has the
everybody.
courage
Right.
to get up there
Yes.
and put their lives on hold
Right.
and you know what I mean, put themselves in a position even of
Yeah.
scrutiny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
Yes.
just to be able to serve,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, the people. So that's
Absolutely
a beautiful thing
right.
because Lord knows I don't have that in me.
Yeah. I'm good.
We still on Hitting the Block?
Actually, yes, we still are. Why, Ms. Bermudez, you got something else?
I don't
to
know
add?
if you wanted to deliver this news.
We're gonna hold off on that.
We'll hold off on
Yeah.
that. Okay, no problem.
What I do want to say, you know, since we are hitting current events and we were local, I just want to say that I wanted to talk about the young brother who once again in the NBA, you know, John Morant. And the reason why for me, I felt like we had to say something because me being from, you know, poverty and coming from a place where, you know, violence is almost second nature and seeing all the different things that occurred around me, it's disheartening to see someone who we say made it, but yet want to, you know, actually participate in behaviors that not befitting to a person who made it. Who made it? Here's a young man who made it to the NBA and is super talented, right? I believe his contract was like something like 5 years, $194 million.
Yeah.
$194 million, right? For 5 years. The man make like $38 million a year or something along those lines.
I don't know. I failed, man.
Yep.
So my thing is, but still, he still feels the need to attach himself with ignorance, and I blame the people that's around him, but I also like to use examples like this.
Is it ignorance
to show,
or is it culture?
Well, culture has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna let you touch on that and expound on that. But I would say this: that's why, you know, us at B.L.E.S.C, when we do our mentoring, we like to express how important it is to be leaders, how important it is to have the right people around you, and not just follow what you see on TikTok and Instant Scam and Facebook. That it's necessary that you able to develop some level of substance, Brother Ra.
Yeah, it's tragic, and I'll be short because I really wanted to hear Erica's perspective on this. But I hinted towards culture, and there's a reason why. It's because, you know, culture, for one, is something that's all-encompassing, right? It's pretty much what we embody. You know what I mean? Or what you embody is a certain, you know what I mean, demographic or a certain group. So that's just culture. And it doesn't mean that culture can, you know what I mean, like always be positive, or culture can be negative in general. Right. Culture is just what it is. It's literally the behavioral patterns of people of a certain demographic or a certain group. With that being said, there's a lot of ignorance that is embraced within, our specific culture when it comes to that. And how people are reacting to that, is just a little bit different than it would have been back in the day, especially when you're doing things now in a clout-driven, like social media, see me,
Right.
instant gratification. I need to be seen at all times. People need to know what I'm doing at all times. People are no longer thinking about the bag. It's not about $194 million. You're like, oh, well, what do you say that to a kid that was well off their entire life,
Right.
who weren't exposed to the societal ills that were going on in the hood, and now chooses to embrace that to be a part of the culture?
Wow, that's crazy.
So we have to look at it from a little bit. I'm not saying take light into the situation. I'm just like, oh, it's $194 million. Like, money be damned sometimes. People
So
don't have personality.
forget the money. I want the likes. That's crazy.
Well, think of what people are doing for likes now.
That's crazy.
Clout is important.
Wow.
I think you
Unfortunately.
touched on something when you said like the instant gratification. I think social media is definitely affecting the psyche of our youth today. And
Exposing it.
this young man, is what, 23, 24, something like that years old.
25.
So he's young. And, it's like a popularity thing for him. I think that these young kids getting into the industry, whether it's entertainment or as an athlete, I think they need some type of coaching, life coaching, not just coaching in their particular sport, because
But that's my issue. Because it's not just about the sport. Believe it or not, that's what the veteran players have always
Yes.
done in the NBA.
Yeah,
and
I
I
was
can
gonna
tell
say
you,
that, yes.
as a kid that played in San Antonio, like, we had the alumni come back and say certain things, yo.
Right.
For one, none of these girls are important right now. They tell us straight up, there's a distraction, there's whatever. And they would always tell us there's a lot of benefits that come for that, but if your focus is on this, it's on this. He should have that. But even if the seniors or the alumni, or even if they're not doing it, like the Memphis Grizzlies of the past, they're not coming and having that conversation.
Mm-hmm,
You see this man's father
Right. And you do have to
Well,
listen, but
maybe they need to just
the
sit
Because
most
behind
they
them.
weren't the ones in the car
right.
recording him do this.
Unfortunately, my
This
my
was his
thing
hood
is,
friends.
one of
Right.
the reasons why I had to say something, because parents, right? Parents, be mindful who your children are hanging around with. What happened to the generation of, you can't be with this person unless I know who they are? And you say, hey, he's grown. But I say the problem didn't start just now. This had to be something that
Well,
existed then, right?
Again, here's the whole thing, because it's all speculation. We don't know if the problem just started now, because he came from a well-to-do home, and his father was damn good enough of a father to make
Right.
sure that he got to
That
the
he
league.
got there.
And he's he's a first generation NBA player.
Right.
It's not like they came from, a long line. You're going to see that a lot. A lot of your superstars in the NBA are second generation, third generations, and it happens.
Right.
It's nepotism
Right.
all the way through. You know what I mean? So we do understand that. But what we also have to understand, how do you control somebody that has close to $200 million at 24, 23, 25 years old? How do you control it? If they are so headstrong on choosing this path, how do you control it? Because they don't have enough wherewithal to say, yo, nah, bro, put your cameras down.
And
But
that's why
we are missing the
that's what
bigger
I was
issue, though.
saying.
We're
It
missing the
started.
bigger
It
issue.
had to start before then.
We're
It had to
missing
start
the
before.
bigger issue. The bigger issue is why is this society so desensitized? Because what we're missing is the fact that why is it so much of fun or looking for likes to even have a gun on camera?
It's a part of the
agree.
culture.
And like
That's
you said,
that's the
culture.
bigger
Gang
issue.
culture,
And it's
gun culture.
and it's disappointing.
It's a part of culture.
Yes.
Culture ties in a lot of things.
And we have to find a way to get our people, our young people, to understand this is not cool.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be acceptable. It's an embarrassment. And I hate the fact that these things do get the likes, right? If he was a regular person and he was doing that, right? You know how many people would have been shooting them 2 guns or throwing hearts out there or saying he crazy or the attention he
He
be
would have
getting
gotten
from the
attention.
girls?
Yeah, he
right.
would have gotten attention
Right.
regardless.
And
It's
so,
culture.
So
to
what,
be seen like
what
that.
is it that is making our children run to things like this? What is it that's making the likes come? What is it that allowing the clout chasers to be clout chasers?
Well-
because they're getting that encouragement from somewhere.
They're getting
They're-
the encouragement from social media.
Right.
It's
But
a,
this-
it's
but
a,
this is
it's
what
a
I'm saying.
cycle.
And
It's
I-
a
There's a
cycle.
double-edged
Exactly.
sword here that people are just going to completely forget. For one, if it's a legal firearm, he is well within his rights to actually be able to tote a gun. He did nothing illegal.
Right.
To be 100% honest. We're talking about moral implications and how it negatively impacts the youth.
Yes.
That's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
because-
we're not talking
Yes.
about legality.
No.
Yeah,
no,
but-
no, no,
Whatsoever, because he cannot be arrested for anything that happened
Right.
or transpired unless that gun
Unless
was
the
used
gun-
in the commission of a
Right,
crime.
crime.
But
so
it's like
technically,
but it's like you saying if he's not if the gun is legally owned, I think you're talking about the moral standpoint.
standpoint,
Because when
absolutely.
you sign on to be an athlete,
he's
you
signing
sign
kids'
on.
jerseys.
Right.
Yes, you sign
Right.
on to be a mentor.
Right.
Yeah.
You sign on to be this
Right.
public figure who
Yeah.
children are looking up to. So essentially, what he's saying is, guns are fun. Look at me.
Right.
I'm having
Exactly.
fun, and that's where
The
the problem
encouragement.
comes.
but
from.
another spin on its head, and this is going to be very unpopular, and I'm fine with it, and it's not a problem.
Let's go.
And again, this is a Rashid thing, and no
Right.
one else. But I'm
Let's
going
go.
to give an unsavory comparison. All right, Ja Morant toting a gun that could be legal or not legal, and if it's
Right.
not legal, we're going to find out he's going to actually have issues. But I don't believe that to be the case.
Yeah, because they would have said that the
They-
first time when he was in the strip
absolutely.
club. So it's like he
Absolutely.
obviously
So he has a
it
legal
legally.
firearm
Right.
and he's toting it in a video or whatever. And we're saying that the moral implications of this and the negative impact on the youth is so damning that this man deserves to lose millions of dollars in endorsements and contracts and et cetera and so forth. And if that's your standpoint, fine. But bear with me, stick to that energy. We'll also have somebody like Lil Nas X, who actually did what is that, Whole Time Rule or Road or whatever. And I thought it was an amazing song because my kids would not cut it off. They loved it. That song was geared towards children. I got the horses in the back and all that. Kids love that. And then the very next one, he gets sued by Nike for putting a 666 on one of their sneakers.
Right.
He, does homosexual acts with these devil.
Right.
Shaming that entire community, by the way. If you were a part of that community, I would hate that association with demonology in and of itself. But
Right.
he doesn't lose any endorsements. In actuality, he uses that to elevate his platform.
Right. And get more
And no one
supporters.
has the same kind of, critiques or anything like that publicly like they're having with Ja Morant. Now, if they're both
Absolutely.
entertainers, why? Why are they not being treated fairly?
So where's the
in the same-
comparison when
well,
you're talking? Hold up, let me ask my question. Where's the comparison when you're talking about one athlete brandishing a gun.
Brandishing
And
a weapon, that's probably legal.
And then you're talking, which is probably legal,
Yep,
right? And
yep.
then you're comparing him to Little Nas X, who is really using his right to freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
Yeah, but
Okay.
toting a gun is a Second Amendment right as well, is it not?
He's talking about the moral.
What I'm saying is the moral.
okay,
We're talking
okay.
about the
Morality,
the
okay,
moral
got you.
Right.
imbalance there.
Right.
It would still be an association. We're
Right.
still promoting demonology
Right.
and satanic worship.
some people,
and,
I mean,
and
that's
a video,
religion.
and a video, but it's still in a video where the demographic or the audience have been hysterically for this artist,
Right.
children.
Children, right.
I mean, well, if you're going to talk about Little Nas X, then you got to talk about Sam Smith too.
Yeah.
Sam Smith went from singing these, beautiful
Love
love
ballads.
songs, and now he naked on stage, nipples out, satanic stuff as well.
We're gonna
At
go back
what
to
point am I?
what the
yeah.
culture
What is the
accepts
culture
and what-
accepting?
right. Because now we see that these are the way to get popularity. Like, it's acceptable.
It's
We're
clout.
I
lit-
think
we're
people
dealing
are
with
being
a-
themselves. Little Nas X came
I
out
find that
and
very.
was
I don't think so.
There's
Yeah,
there's
I
literally
think-
people that
I-
went to
I
school and
really-
said that he didn't
Nothing
express
like that.
anything about his homosexuality until he became a star. He was
Right.
dating a
And-
female
and-
for like a year and a half.
But,
Right.
but,
And
but
I
you
believe-
have to remember that black men specifically are ostracized because they come out. So just because he was dating a female in high school doesn't mean that he wasn't
But
gay
Erica,
and wasn't
so you don't,
just
you don't-
hiding
you
his
don't
sexuality.
believe that some people actually portray a certain way once they see that it actually brings them fame, popularity, and money. You can't ever.
I don't disagree
don't
with
fit-
that. I
He
think,
was a
I
one-hit
think that
wonder,
people
and
change their image.
he jumped on a train. He was a one-hit wonder
Absolutely.
and
I
jumped
think
on a
that
train,
people-
and it was popular.
And the
it worked.
industry does that. Let's not forget.
That's
The
what they do.
industry
Right.
definitely
It does it.
changes the image from people so that they can have the record sales, so that the industry is getting
He
their
created a character
their money
to
back. This is
capitalize
their
on it.
asset,
Right.
so they're
Certain
getting it
demographic.
back.
Right.
Listen, at the end of the day, I don't want to spend too much time on this because there are more important things happening right here in our city
That's
than
very
sitting up
very
here.
important though.
It is important, but at the end of the day, we are doing nothing but just doing what they do on social media.
Well,
I've seen this on the Shade Room. I've seen it. I've heard it. I've talked about it. I'm over it already. John Morant ain't putting no money in my pocket, and quite frankly, he doesn't care about the money that's coming out of his pocket. That's between him, the Grizzlies, and his daddy to decide what he needs to do for his life.
Well, the reason,
I can move on from that.
The reason why I decided to actually bring it to the table because I want the parents to learn from things like this. I want them to understand what depths that these children are willing to go to
For clout.
But he's a grown ass man.
but
He ain't a children.
He's an
He's
example.
a grown ass man.
And that's my point. If
Stop,
a grown
Conley,
man,
I'm not
no.
going to let you sit
No,
up here
I'm gonna
and say the
that.
parents.
Yes.
That man is
But
in his
it's-
20s.
it's-
Hold up.
No, I'm
you
not
just
done.
sat here. The
I'm
both
not
of y'all
done.
just sat here and said
I'm
how
not
his
done.
father helped him get into the league. His
Yes.
father sitting at every game. What
Yes.
he did between 18 and 25 is not his parents' responsibility.
That's not
So
what I'm
stop
saying.
talking about the parents.
I-
What the parents need to do is prevent their children from doing what John Morant is doing. But John Morant is no longer a child.
Well, what I'm
That's
saying is
literally a
it didn't-
counterbalance
it didn't-
to everything
it
that you
did-
said.
it
No,
didn't
I'm saying
start-
children,
my point
the
is,
parents need
it
to
didn't start
protect
there.
their children from doing what he's doing.
My point is, it didn't start there, and my thing is, they need to start monitoring those things and hold their children accountable for what they see and participate on social media because
Overall,
that's
it's
what
about
they're
clout.
doing.
And I
Yeah.
think, and that's what I'm saying. It's not like I was going into culture for a reason. There is clout culture, and clout culture means to do something so outlandish, to
Right.
be a shock jock so much to where you get the
Clickbait.
approval of people,
Right.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
who don't know you, so
Why-
that you can
why-
actually become this instant
why
famous.
has that
With John,
become
it's like
so
you already
important?
have that. You already have that celebrity. So why are it so important to perpetrate that? But it doesn't matter whether or not. And that's what we need to see. That's what the parents need to understand.
Right.
It has
That's my
nothing
point.
to do with, you know what I mean, this money, this success, this clout
Despite
chasing is
all of
very,
that.
very important. So
Right.
toting a gun one moment, throwing alcohol in your chest and setting it on fire is another thing. That's clout chasing. People are doing a lot of things just to be seen so that people can see them.
Right.
And the whole thing
For
is,
the
why can't you
attention.
see yourself
Yes.
enough to where you
Exactly.
don't need that?
Where-
It's clout
where's the-
chasing
where-
culture.
where is the resolution? Why is it such a void, and why it hasn't been? Why is it continually being unanswered?
And it doesn't matter at what level of
Nah,
society you
it
actually
doesn't.
find yourself. We see
Right.
this with everyone,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
Exactly. And it's more and more the TikToks and everything else that's going
I
on.
don't watch
You know
TikTok.
what I mean?
I don't.
No,
I don't.
well, you're one of the very few. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
either.
I don't-
But
I
you're
don't
one of
watch
the very
TikTok.
few. That's actually it's crazy. It's part of the culture. You know what I mean? A lot of people spend insanely amount of time on TikTok. That's where they get their news. Everything goes. They think that everything on there is just fact. And my point is, man, I mean, social media, like I said,
Social media is the devil.
Used improperly.
Literally.
Speaking of that,
I was about to
you know,
say,
I'm gonna tell
literally
you
is
something.
not.
You know what else? You know what
I
else?
love you, social media.
Social
Continue
media
to
is
make
the
me
devil.
money.
and to change the topic, you know, listen, I'm an Android lover forever, right?
All right.
And you said, you know, you brought up a devilish conversation, and I'm gonna say something, man. I'm gonna talk about the twin devils that exist with iPhone. I had an experience.
What was
and,
that experience?
Yeah, okay, we're not gonna go there.
Oh,
But
wait
I
a
have
minute,
an-
Kyle.
But I have an
You can't
experience.
just jump over that.
And
You
we'll go
can't-
back to that later. I had an experience.
What was the
And
experience?
unfortunately, I had an experience.
Do tell
and
the viewers. They want to know.
Well, let's just say that something outrageous happened to my Android, right?
What happened to your Android?
And,
the people want to know.
I had to switch to an iPhone, but it's only gonna be temporary because I encountered these two devils, one called Siri and one called Safari.
Okay.
Right. So I literally think I heard Siri curse at me the other day. You know what I mean? I was thinking about something. I said something. I think she answered me back. That's a problem, right? And Safari, I was thinking about something, and then I go on to the Safari, and the shit is right there on the thing, and I'm like, yo, wait a minute, like what is going on? It's making me. I'm being fearful of what's going on. I swear. So what I decided to do is to leave this device inside the car. I don't even bring it in the house anymore. Right? Yeah, it bothers me, and you know,
what happened to your Android?
that's not important. But I will say this, you know what I mean? Android for life. I joined the Android group, a support group. You know, we communicate often, and it's helping me get through this problem that I have with Apple in the iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have an interesting topic to discuss
You know,
because
yeah, I'm
this,
just saying.
this,
No, I
this
just
is a
wanted to
lot.
bring that up because I had it on my.
I could
on my-
literally go
yeah.
into why that is, but
Well, can you?
You're
please,
the
can
you're
you
the tech
elaborate?
guy.
Yeah.
Could you-
Can you
Another day.
elaborate? Because
Another
I'm like, yo,
Listen.
I mean, anybody that want the information to the Android support group, please reach out to B.L.E.S.C.
If we
in the
can
city.
please switch
Email.
gears to go back to discussing local things that's going on.
That was local. And it still bothers me, but go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, I ran across this article on NJ.com and I wanted to bring it to the show today. So the headline reads, 3 Jersey City cannabis dispensaries on the cusp of opening, and another 19 are also close to approval.
So how was this important? But go ahead.
I'm going to tell you why it's important. Why is it that Jersey City, now, whether or not Jersey City is one of the largest cities in New Jersey is neither here nor there. Why is it that there has to be 20 some odd dispensaries in Jersey
The
City?
same reason there's a liquor store in every corner.
Okay.
yeah, I was going to.
Okay, but this is exactly what I'm referring to. One of the things that I read in the article was that of the 20-something applicants, only less than half are residents of Jersey City.
Right.
And of that, I think maybe 2 or 3 are minority. So I feel like, and I even believe that
Only one is black. Only one is black that I know.
Yeah, I think
female,
it's a woman, right?
Yeah, it is a female.
But even did you
Not
know
from here.
Ice-T?
Well, she's not originally from here, but
here,
she lives here now.
Oh, okay.
But Ice-T is supposed to be opening
Yeah, it's in partnership. though.
dispensary here as well.
Yeah.
But my okay, there's a liquor store in every corner. My issue is this,
Not
right?
in every corner.
Damn
Yeah.
near,
I was
especially on
gonna-
the south side. Damn
Yeah, I was going
near.
to say, I grew up, you know, I spent some
Damn
time.
near,
grew
but
up in
I
the
just
Heights,
don't
so there's a
understand the
liquor store on every
purpose
corner at all.
of the dispensaries opening up.
That is
You
right.
have
Everybody knows.
Not on
developments.
General Square either. Not downtown either.
Focus, brothers.
Yeah, just-
Developments coming up all over Jersey City, okay? And instead of there being some type of rec center built for our children, this is why I wanted to bring this up. Now, I know you have to get the approval. You have to get approval.
Yeah, those are mutually exclusive, by the way.
Yeah,
But
it's very
I
different.
understand and share your pain.
But this is what
Yeah.
my point is. You have to get approval. It's mutually exclusive, but you have to get approval. Why is it they're so amped to approve 20 some odd?
Well, it's private enterprise, so you can't stop. So it's like it's private enterprise. These are all entrepreneurs, and what they're actually doing is going through a regulatory body in order to actually be able to open up. You know what I mean? To sell a specific medical use. You know what I mean? Whatever. All right. So you would have the same.
It didn't
you know
say that it was medicinal.
Well, we can do it for recreation because it's legal
Right,
now.
because it's legal now.
But we
because
have
they
had.
didn't say they were opening up medicinal.
No.
Well,
They
what I'm
said
just gonna-
cannabis dispensaries.
What I'm trying to
They
get
did
you to
not say
understand is
just
medicinal has been here, though.
Right.
It's been here. So a lot of those people are already established already because they were already here for the medicinal. Now what there is partaking in the recreational. It's like opening up a storefront somewhere in Jersey City. So you wouldn't have the same mechanisms in place to open up a publicly funded recreation center as you would, you know what I mean, for a private enterprise. So they are a little bit different. But what you go through is the licensing. Now that's the you know what I mean, that's where you get the who can have what.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
through
but
the licensing.
This is
That's
my
your
point.
issue.
Because they scrutinize
You have the
everything.
state. There has to be. It has to be approved by the state. It has
Yeah.
to be approved locally first.
Yes,
Yes.
first it has
Jersey
to be,
City
yeah.
has to approve it first, and
Right.
then the state will approve it. This is where my issue comes in, and
Yeah.
this is why I say y'all gotta vote. This is exactly why I'm saying y'all gotta vote.
Well, the
because
state regulates it.
Right.
Yes.
It
the state
regulates it.
regulates it, but the
But
city
the
has
city
to approve it
approve it.
first.
Right.
So this is why I say you have to vote because not to. All right, if you want to open up whatever, that's fine. You want your business only one, but I just feel like there's so much other things that could be opened up here other than cannabis. Like
Recreation centers.
Yeah,
don't
well, I was gonna say
produce
it's the
money.
same thing. Yeah, I was gonna say it's
And
the same thing.
And it don't
with-
it don't pay
yeah.
taxes. It costs taxpayers. So they're not gonna be jumping at the gun to open up a rec
And they're
center
not privately
everywhere to go.
funded.
Right.
The license
Right.
is the only thing that really has a government stamp behind it, or wherever, because that's your approval or not. You know, and that's how they regulate it through licensing. You know what I mean? It's not like they're going out there and pushing out the local drug dealer.
and-
He's been selling weed on this corner
Right.
forever.
Forever.
So
and
that's
there's
what
only
it is.
there's only 3 that's supposed to be opening up on the south side. So I
Yeah.
think the local drug dealers on the south side would be fine.
Well, there's overage and everything else. There's
Yeah.
overage.
Yeah.
But you brought up a good point when you said about rec centers, whatever. So there was a meeting recently about the swimming pools in Jersey City.
Yeah.
It used to be free,
Yes.
and they are no longer free.
Yes. And that's crazy.
It's insane to me, and this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. I know it's 2 separate entities. I get it. I totally understand that business is one thing, and things that have to be paid by taxpayers and or
Yeah.
funded by the local government is 2 separate things. I totally understand that, but I mean, damn, like you want children to pay to go to the pool. Like it's not enough stuff to do already as it is in the city for the summer times. Yes, they have.
You're talking about the
rec-
monetization for these
Right.
programs.
Yes.
But that's not where the buck stops. My understanding is that the Department of Recreation in Jersey City is going to be charging for their programs as well at some
now.
percentage
Right.
moving forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
That's
in general,
across
baseball,
the board,
whatever it
baseball,
is,
basketball,
there's going to be
everything
some kind of
across the
debt.
board,
Yeah.
which is insane to me. It's insane to me because property tax keeps going up. Where is this money going? Please tell me.
And it's going to all
Please
the.
tell me,
all
'cause it's not going to
all
the kids.
The tax abatements that they're giving to all of these high rises and different businesses that's moving in to the city.
So
That's why.
how is
It's
it
the
how is it
abatements.
2 separate things when I the tax
Well,
abatements, the big developers are coming in.
It's separate because when we talk about the dispensary, they're private funds. They're not receiving
it's a
abatements or
private-
what have you.
yeah.
No, that's
So-
private. But when you
right.
mention, I'm not talking about I'm talking about when you mentioned the developers.
Yes.
The developers getting these tax abatements.
Yes.
But so this is what I'm talking about. Developers are getting the tax abatements. Tax dollar property tax is increasing rapidly. And I mean, Jersey City
There's-
alone, tax is ridiculous.
There's nothing wrong with the tax abatements, to be 100% honest. It's really what So tax abatements are actually given out as incentives for
To bring
to bring in business and to support local business.
Right.
So-
to also support the demographics of the people in which
What happens
in the areas that they're
to the Department of
That's
Education? What
exactly
happens to the school system when these developers come in?
Yeah.
What happens to the school? What are the developers supposed to do for the school system when they come in?
Well, it really just depends on what it is that they actually
what
signed
they-
up for,
yeah.
and there's no
Right.
blanket like, all right,
But
well, you got to do this.
usually,
for the-"
typically, when the
No, not usually. It's literally written in there. It's
Depending
like you
on
go,
what
there's a request for a
services
proposal,
they
you go out there,
provide.
you actually
Right.
put, well, you know what I mean, if you allow us to build this
We
here,
will-
you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, we
commit
can have
to
an
this
abatement for this
for
amount
this
of time.
time.
We'll have
Yeah.
low income housing
Right.
for about
For 10 years, 20 years.
25% of our
Yeah.
units for this long or that
Yeah.
long. We'll support,
So
you
it's
know
a
what I mean, we'll
trade-off.
hire.
Right.
That's what they're again. There's nothing wrong with any legislation. The only thing is legislation means absolutely nothing, whether it's legislation, contracts, or whatever, without enforcement. And that's the issue. So it's not really, oh, let's attack abatements, because I'm with it either way. What I'm saying is, it's that those abatements come in, and what's going on is that we have people that are in positions of power and are saying, you know, not a problem. This looks good. This is what it is. And then they'll go and they'll say, not for nothing, we love and support your campaign or whatever. And I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just saying in general. They might be looking at their personal interests, but they know unless it's enforced, you can't force these companies to do any of the stuff that they may promise. The only thing you can do is ding them when they don't.
Right.
So they can operate and build up a building for, you know what I mean, like 18 months before someone comes back and say, yo, not for nothing. When we gave you this abatement, you said that 40% would be residents from Jersey City on the south side,
Right.
which means from this block to this block, and we need to see audit receipts that you
Right.
have hired within the community.
And
And how do
normally
you get that enforcement? We don't have an enforcement body
right.
from the
and
beginning.
there's no one to keep track of that. So that's
There's
why
never been anyone to keep
there's-
track, so
there-
you can't
there-
give
it
out
get lost.
abatements
Right.
if you can't audit them.
Right.
If you can't audit them, then you shouldn't be giving out abatements. And we do have auditors. The only thing is, there's like 3 of them in the city,
Right.
and there's like 50 projects going on at once.
At once. Yeah.
So,
This is
so
the
it's
first
like,
time
yeah.
I've ever seen Jersey City like this. Now, mind you, I am only 25 years old, so maybe
Right.
before my
Understood.
time.
Right.
You're killing me with this shit. I'm a proud 40.
Well,
I-
you could be
well,
a
I'm
proud
not-
40.
I haven't
I'm
gotten there
I'm
yet,
25.
but,
I'm not there yet. I'm sorry. I
yeah.
just had a birthday actually, and I turned
Right.
25.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
25th.
But I mean, I've never seen it like this before. I've never seen where literally every right turn you make, there's a building going up, and then there's I just
Location.
the
Location.
Bayfront
Yeah,
thing.
urban
the,
sprawl.
The ground
Yeah,
is supposed to
yeah.
be breaking for that at some point. I assume, because I see that, you know, stuff going on over there again. But it's like Jersey City is also contaminated with chromium, and all of this stuff is
In a
going
lot
up
of pockets,
in
yeah.
Berry Lane Park, the
Berry Lane
Bayfront
Park is-
area.
Bayfront, yep.
Bergen Lafayette area is
Mostly
contaminated.
downtown.
Yeah.
What we
Mostly
consider
downtown,
downtown. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bergen Lafayette
Yeah.
area. So it's like you have all of this stuff. These developers coming in, they're not cleaning the area. So
Well,
we're-
Well,
the
yeah,
thing is,
they
there
are-
was no.
yeah.
Yeah.
no,
there-
no,
there
they're
wa-
not. They're lying about
So-
that.
But
It's the way that you
yeah.
develop on top of it, to be 100% honest, because a
came
lot
up
of
with
those
new
deposits
techniques.
have dissipated. The bigger argument would have been the color of law and why the hell we all who live downtown were allowed to live in those contaminated
Areas.
areas
Right.
our entire childhood.
Right.
And when it finally dissipates to the point where it's developable,
developed,
now
right.
we got outside people coming in, pushing us out of those used to be
This- yeah,
contaminated areas, and now
There
developing
was a
on
class
more
action
different
suit.
communities.
There was a class action suit a few years
On
ago.
Garfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the Honeywell? I believe it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
They had a building on 440. There was a class action suit, and a lot of people in the 440 up all
Mm-hmm.
the way up into Kennedy Boulevard, Bergen area between Danford and I want to say Lexington, somewhere in that vicinity. I could be off by a block or two, but a lot of those residents did get some type of compensation.
Well, I'm not sure the compensation that they had.
I don't know
but-
if it would have ever
but
been
I-
enough.
Right.
No,
right.
it would never be
For-
enough.
for amount of cancer and
yeah.
things like that develop. But I do know that there is a new level of filtration system that they use for the chromium, and it's not alleged. It's something that they had to actually develop to pass, and what they discovered was, like you said, the amount of the chromium was dissipated. So
I don't
made
believe it.
No,
I mean,
No, what I'm saying it is
I'm
not
a
to,
conspiracy
Not
theorist,
to a
so
point-
I just
yeah.
don't believe it.
No,
I
no,
believe
you're right.
that-
It's not
I'm
gone.
not saying it's
Yeah,
gone.
that's
It's
what
not
I'm
gone.
saying.
What we're
I'm
saying
saying
is,
is-
it's you know how you get to a point where it's manageable pain.
Yeah.
Are you a
Right.
scientist?
Yeah, so-
You're
so it
going.
is what
You're
it is.
going off of what
No,
they're saying.
I'm a data researcher. You know what I mean?
I just feel that they could
go
say
by
anything.
Yeah.
They could.
Right.
They
No,
could,
no, no. But like I
that's my
said,
point.
if you were,
But
there are
All right.
ways to actually be
I just
able
don't
to.
believe it.
But
and
science
listen,
doesn't- never mind.
well, I'll
It's
say
fine.
this. I mean,
Yeah.
don't rent there, don't smoke.
Because you're right.
stay
If
away
you don't,
from
yeah.
there.
If
Right.
if you disagree
You know
with
what I
it,
mean?
then you disagree with
Right.
it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because it was an ill that you shouldn't even have to speak about.
But you definitely grew up. You definitely brought up.
Shouldn't
a
have
great,
to grow up in
you
that,
definitely brought up a great point. And I don't know. I mean, collectively as a community and other organizations at grassroots, we're gonna have to come up with a way to try to raise some funds to supplement. You know what I mean? Some of these things when it comes from our kids playing for pools. I mean, complaining without bringing a remedy is something I'm not really into.
And
So
there's
we
a-
have to
there's a-
collectively
there's
come
a-
up with a way.
There's a flip side to that as well. As somebody who had a program with the Department of Recreation, my understanding, and I'm not giving out any jewels or anything like that, I do know that a lot of parents sign their kids up to multiple things and then they want to choose what their kids can go to. So these are being direct conflict, you know what I mean, to programming, you know what I mean, for whatever hour block that there is. And to be honest, a lot of the times you'll come to find out that these are well-off parents, you know what I mean, who don't even reflect the communities in which those programs actually are taking place in.
I didn't think
So
about that.
that's a real big thing. So
think
maybe
about that.
there was an intention by an organization that's been around forever and is probably one of the last fully, you know, like black institutions, which might be REC because there's a lot of brothers and sisters
Right,
hired
right.
there. Maybe the thought process there, and I'm not giving out any jewels or saying anything someone said, is that if we do charge a soft price, then we can eliminate, you know what I mean, people you know what I mean? Wean off the people that are actually looking to, you know what I mean, take multiple slots from people. Then we have to open and close list and for programs that continuously run, even though people aren't attending those at the same time. It's a powder keg over there because I remember in our program, we had to open up the list multiple times because people used our list as placeholders because they wanted to see what their kids like more. So there could be some logic behind it that is not negative. Right. You know what I mean? But we don't know because transparency has to be.
But let me ask you this
provided.
question. Let me ask you this
Yep.
question. How do the children who really need these programs, parents who cannot afford to pay for basketball, football, soccer, whatever the case may be, and they're actually utilizing these free programs for their children to have something to do, whether it be after school or in the summertime, with the pool? You can't tell me people wasn't going to that. That pool was always over flooded. The Pavonia pool, the Lafayette pool, these are pools that were always, especially in the summertime. Kids are there all the time. So how are the kids being affected by these programs being assessed a fee now?
Well, the thing is, and here's a crazy thing. What I've noticed in seeing these programs, unless they're directly inside of a school, which is something completely different, it has nothing to do with recreation or anything like that, right? Typically, the poor people don't take advantage of the resources in their community in the first place to be disenfranchised. I'm saying overwhelmingly, if a program is created and housed and facilitated on the south side of the city, chances are you're going to see at least half of those people there not representatives of the
Is this an
south side.
opinion? This statement that you're making is an opinion?
I'm giving you that as my experience as somebody who's actually run a program and as someone who has kids that are actively in.
So you're speaking, generally speaking, not specifically to REC.
Not specifically
Well, no.
to REC
Okay.
at all.
And I would
respect
share
that.
I would share that opinion only because of the things that, you know, us as B.L.E.S.C have done, and it's very difficult to get our people to come out and to receive free items. I don't know if it's the pride.
Have you been to the backpack
I don't.
drives?
Yeah, I
right.
have.
I don't
It's
know.
a lot
I don't
of
know if
other,
I don't know if it's
cultural-
I don't know if it's the pride, the unwillingness to register.
But I see those kids in
It's
REC.
just-
I
it's
see in the
rough,
summer
man.
program, Bayside Park is always filled and flooded with kids. Berry Lane Park is always filled and flooded with kids. I'm speaking specifically to the summer program. Now, I'm not speaking, but even
Because the summer program, that's like the last option
Right.
because all the other kids that would be competing for the free programs
Right.
throughout the year,
Right.
they have the option
They
of
have
going
the
to
option
boys
of
and
going
girls
there.
camps, basketball camp, because
They
their
pay
parents
for
have the
that.
resources to
Right.
do so.
Right.
So we're talking about a last
This is
option
it.
for kids.
So
yeah,
again,
it would represent the
we're gonna-
demographic because there's no competition.
We're going
Right.
to have to come up with a way to supplement it. These programs need to be supported, and I encourage
And I
all
don't believe that
grass-
they're from my understanding, they're not looking to they're not so unaffordable that people. It's really just a financial commitment
I
to
can't
make sure
afford
that you come through.
nothing.
Well,
Okay,
I
I need
mean-
my son to
But
go
I'm
to the
talking
free.
about, like, I saw some
free.
stuff like
$3.99.
softball is $40 for your
Can't
kid to
afford
join
it.
in.
I can't afford it.
But also at the same time, you'll be like, all right, I can afford it. Now, here's the flip side. They only are given a certain amount of equipment that they can actually share, because here's the whole thing. Your kid needs protective gear to even be on a softball
Right.
field. So if you can't afford $40 to make sure that your kid can register, it would be a deterrent for you then
Right.
to actually have your kid come
Buy
out there and
gloves,
be a
bats.
bit of a liability
Yeah.
on
But
some
that's
of
an
the other
addition.
resources that are there.
Okay, so what you're
Right.
saying is, are they providing these equipment if I pay the $40?
They are providing those equipments, those things right now that I see, my
Mm-hmm.
kid being in there right now, to kids that do not have it. But they are
Well, then that
strongly
offsets the
encouraging.
cost. That
they
makes
are
sense
strongly
then.
encouraging the parents to go buy out equipment, because the equipment that's there is not for your kid.
Oh, it's for all kids. So
It's
they'll be
general.
General.
It's not for your kid.
And if
Okay.
you want your child to have a better something,
A
that
better
you would feel as
experience or
though,
something
right,
like that,
then
they need it
you would
to
invest
be
in
their
that,
own.
personalize it, right? Well, regardless of what, with all the things and things are on a rise or what have you. Still, I say all grassroots. We need to find a way to supplement some of these things. Whether we do a lottery, whether we choose some type of kids, whether we do a pool. We need to come up with a way to supplement these things to make funds available, you know what I mean, for the youth to have something to do in the summer. You know, and I hate to close the show like this, but I do want to mention we want to pray for the Mendoza family. One of our sisters, you know, and then Hudson County Correction Police officer. She lost someone close to her. And don't even know I want to describe the tragic or the tragedy per se, but
Well, we know what it is, but I think giving a little bit light, that you know, what I mean, some context to it is that unfortunately there was a bolo that went out. You guys might have seen it on social media,
shared
and
it.
is a missing young lady, and I forget her name. I did know that was Mendoza's.
Norellis, I think the first
Yes.
name. Norellis Mendoza. Yeah.
Yes, so you know she's was reported missing earlier in the week, and unfortunately in this situation, which is all too familiar for us because we kicked off this year having conversations about.
This
Yeah.
is
I
like
mean,
the
yeah.
fourth
Yeah, the
woman
fourth
that
one.
has been
Woman that has
Yeah, man.
disappeared and then had
found.
found.
Well, third, I
yeah.
believe another woman was shot. The Sayersville
Yeah.
woman was shot, but she
Yes.
didn't know. Well, she wasn't. There wasn't a bolo put out. on
There
her.
wasn't a bolo
But
put
this is
out,
the
yeah.
third one in
She
like
was also a
2
political
months.
figure.
Right, political
Yeah.
figure. Right. So,
But yeah, it's becoming, in this community specifically, it's becoming all too common, unfortunately, and we're just wanting to give our prayers. But yes, you know, if you wanted to know what happened to that young lady, you saw the bolo going out. Unfortunately, you know, she's no longer with us.
she was
Right.
found. Yeah, her body was found. It's
Yeah,
sad.
and-
It's really sad. I'm
And,
just.
and again, I mean, we definitely want to send our prayers out, you know, to the family. We know it's difficult to experience any loss, but a loss like this, you know what I mean, with the tragedy being the way it is, and it appears to be, man, it's I've experienced it. I had a close relative who, you know, experienced a similar fate, and I'm telling you, it's painful. You never forget how it happened, and because you never get an opportunity to probably say goodbye, and you think about all the things you could have done to probably, you know, prevent it, and it really isn't none. And again, we just want to give our prayers to
Yes.
Officer Mendoza's family, and
And I wanted to give out a charge, just in general, because we did talk about the similarities, and you know, like I noticed a lot of it. And one time, it touched me a little bit close to home because I knew a young man who actually did kill another teacher, you know, who happened to be his wife at the time, and they weren't together and stuff like that. There is a special kind of beta male out there, you know what I mean, that exists to believe that the only way for him to assert his manhood is to dominate women in such a cowardly way as to end her life with no consideration to the family, to the children, or the offspring that is left behind. And that needs to be pointed out, and it needs to really, really be talked about, because it is the worst form. When people talk about toxic masculinity, that has absolutely nothing to do with a man standing up for himself against societal norms to emasculate men. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about men that go out there and look at women as as items of, you know what I mean, to be controlled or possessed, and then, you know, try every means in order to keep them under some kind of oppressive control. Excuse me for spitting, but it bothers me. It really, really, really bothers me that exists in this community, and I'm seeing it more often in my community.
Yeah, it's sad.
And it's funny because when I was leaving work today, an officer said, I tell my sister all the time to stay away from certain men, and they just don't listen. I said, brother,
Agreed.
I said, you can't tell a woman what to stay away from. You got to show her what she need to run to. Be that example. Encourage her to demand certain things, from, a person of interest, and make them work. You got anything else to say, Erica? In closing?
Yeah, well, in closing, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things really quickly. So last month, what month is this, May? So the months of February and March, we were going to the commissioners meeting in support of Officer Anthony Smith. And there was an article that was released recently with some of the things that he was dealing with at his place of employment. And I just wanted to touch on that really briefly, because that article kind of touched briefly on why we were supporting him, what he was going through, and losing his position as the community relations officer. And I just wanted to note that the president of B.L.E.S.C, Officer Anthony Smith, we support you. Your team supports you. And as you continue to navigate through this process and everything that you're going through.
And taking it through the proper legal channels.
Yes, and doing what it is that you have to do, because the example that he's setting for anybody else who may go through this type of scrutiny, whether it be in the workplace or in any type of organization, it's important to stand up. It's important to speak up. And I think that it's important that he understands and knows that he has the support of his B.L.E.S.C organization. He has the support of the people here on the podcast. And I just wanted to briefly touch on that so that you guys know and understand. The article is, there if you want to read it. We did go to the commissioners meeting to support him, and we will continue to support him until this is, met the finish line successfully. And also, I do want to touch on May is Mental Health Month, and on our next episode, we will be having an awesome guest to discuss that. So I just wanted to put that out there, market our next show, May 31st. We have an awesome guest coming on, and we're going to discuss mental health awareness.
All right. Thank you and appreciate it. As always, good people, thanks for joining us. I just want you guys to stay well, support each other, and continue to love yourself. Erica?
Yes, continue to love yourself like we love you. Peace and love, kings and queens, and we out.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Man.
Good show.